Today is the end of the federal Mortgage Forbearance Program, which has protected homeowners from foreclosures during this pandemic. And a local realtor says he does not anticipate a spike in foreclosures. Metro Detroit realtor Michael Perna with the Perna team talked with WWJ's Michael Cohen.
This is something that we've been watching and monitoring pretty closely over the last month or 2 months, especially because there was an extension where it was supposed to come up last month. In the spring, there was a pretty heavy concern. What was going to happen with the moratorium? How are the banks going to react? How are the homeowners going to react? To provide a little backstory and a little data behind this, right now we have 6.4% of all mortgages in serious delinquency. Definition of serious delinquency being 90 days plus late. 14% of all FHA mortgages, which is a lot of our first-time buyer range, are also in serious delinquency, which is, again, that's a huge number. What we have seen over the last month and a half, per the Mortgage Bankers Association, is most of the banks have severely beefed up what we call a loss mitigation department. In layman's terms, they're the people that you actually talk to on the phone if you're doing a forbearance or a loan modification or some sort of a restructure, which is a good thing. What we now know is the banks are really taking to heart the lessons learned from the last down market. And the number one lesson is they don't want the homes. It's a losing proposition for the families. It's a losing proposition for the banks themselves because now they've got a dead asset that they've got to hold for 8 months before they can resell it. It's just a loss all the way around. So what a lot of news stories I'm seeing report is the 6.4% number and the 14% number. And to put that in context, at the peak of the last down market, we had just over 4% of mortgages in some sort of a serious delinquency and 11% of FHA. So these numbers are actually bigger. But when you really dive into it, the majority of those are in a forbearance, are currently in forbearance, and they're currently working on restructuring their loans through a loan modification. So where a lot of news stories are reporting, hey, we've got this big wave of foreclosures because of the delinquency rate, the reality is the banks are actually working very hard to not allow that to happen. So this big wave of foreclosures that we're supposed to be seeing in the third or fourth quarter this year, I just don't see it. I don't think we're going to see that at all. We're going to see quite the opposite.
And that is Metro Detroit realtor Michael Perna with the Perna team talking there with WWJ's Michael Cohen about a federal mortgage forbearance program.